Fuel. We use it for so many aspects of our everyday lives. Without good quality fuel, life as we know it would be very different. It makes sense then that we would want to ensure that the fuel we use is good quality fuel.
You may have contamination of different types of fuel because from time to time you may use a drum to do diesel and then they put petrol inside that drum, which is gasoline. And you can have contamination there. And they're being stored in different contaminated drums, and when they throw it into your fuel tank, some might even have like water, which might get into your tank. From that, you can start corrode your tank, corrode your fuel pump. And from this, now we go into your engine. It can even cause your valves them to clog up, which means you can start to burn more fuel, you're losing power, the exhaust start to get more black smoke emanated into the atmosphere, which would cause impact to the environment too.
Prior to 2003, Guyana experienced a high incidence of fuel smuggling. Fuel was being smuggled into the country and sold illegally to retail sites. Illegally imported fuel is often of a lower quality than the legally imported fuel.
What we found is that quite often illegal fuel is smuggled in dirty containers. What this means is that contaminated fuel ends up getting into your car engines, into your generators, and these of course can have grave consequences for your fuel injectors, filters, and the overall operation of your expensive equipment.
Poor quality fuel may not only damage vehicles, but it is also a major cause of air pollution. Polluted air can affect a variety of respiratory conditions in people, such as asthma, and it can adversely impact climate change by adding to the atmospheric greenhouse gases that create the global warming effect. Even more importantly, taxes are not paid when fuel is smuggled into Guyana and distributed illegally, taxes that would be used to fund Guyana's development for the benefit of future generations. All fuel imported into Guyana should be distributed the legal way. First, through the established fuel distributors in Guyana, and through retail sites, or at times, through large commercial resellers. The fuel distributors store the fuel brought into Guyana at their primary sites, and from these sites distribute to the many gas stations in Guyana. Legitimate fuel importers and distributors are licensed by the government of Guyana to import petroleum products, and they pay the required taxes on the fuel they import. The process of becoming a licensed fuel dealer is clearly outlined in the Petroleum and Petroleum Products Regulations. Guidelines for the application processes can be obtained from the GEA's head office or from the website at www.gea.gov.gy.
Because it was felt that according to the increase in vehicles, etc., on the roadways, it was apparent that that was not reflecting a similar increase in fuel sales. So it seemed apparent that a lot of fuel was coming into Guyana illegally. So even though you had increased industrial activity, increased domestic activity with motor cars and so on, that fuel sales by the oil companies did not reflect the same thing. This company, the Biocode company, apparently a recognized company who had similar programs in other parts of the world, were engaged to set up a similar program in Guyana.
Authentics enables brand owners and governments to build market confidence and maximize revenue by authenticating products to combat counterfeiting, protect brand equity, and assure program integrity. They serve clients in the oil and gas industry, branded products, currency and tax stamp markets with leading product authentication solutions wrapped in robust programs to deliver meaningful business outcomes that contribute to their clients' success. Headquartered in Dallas, Texas, USA, Authentics has offices in the US, UK, Africa, and the UAE, serving clients worldwide. Established in 2003, the Guyana Energy Agency's Fuel Marking Division diligently carries out its legal mandate to add markers to the petroleum products of licensed importers.
Our fuel marking program is made up of two basic parts. One, the marking of the legal fuel, so to be able to differentiate between legal and smuggled fuel. And the other part is the detection of the fuel.
When legally imported fuel first reaches Guyana, the GEA adds a marker. This marker is a chemical that allows the marked fuel to be identified as legally imported. The GEA can draw samples of fuel from any distributor or vendor and run tests to identify the fuel marker. This test allows the GEA to determine whether the fuel tested was legally imported. The Guyana Energy Agency Act provides for the prosecution of those found with illegally imported fuel.
Under the Guyana Energy Agency Act, it is an offense to possess, to store, to transport, to sell, offer for sale, or even purchase illegal petroleum and petroleum products. Now, a person who is convicted of such an offense in a summary court or a magistrate's court is liable to pay a maximum fine of $3 million or serve a maximum sentence of 3 years imprisonment.
In 2007, in collaboration with several organizations, a task force on fuel smuggling and contraband was convened. The mandate of the task force is to coordinate the efforts of the different law enforcement agencies in the fight against fuel smuggling and contraband. The resulting cooperation among the Guyana Police Force, Guyana Revenue Authority, Guyana Energy Agency, Guyana Defense Coast Guard, and Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, CANU, aided in several interdictions of illegal fuel and assisted in capturing, escorting, and securing various transport vessels, both on land and in water. Cooperation from the Guyana Police Force in the detention of suspects and the GDF Coast Guard and Guyana Revenue Authority in joint operations has proven invaluable in combating the illegal fuel trade. Despite the challenges the GEA faces, the number of prosecutions for possession of illegal fuel has risen consistently, while the volume of legally imported fuel has increased.
From the commencement of the program in 2004, there have been some challenges in successfully prosecuting offenders. For example, initially there was a somewhat limited statutory definition of illegal petroleum. As the agency has discovered these problems, steps have always been taken to remedy them, and it is hoped that in the future we will have far more successful prosecutions.
The fuel marking program provides benefits in a number of areas. These include improved and sustained sales of legitimate diesel and gasoline, improved and sustained collection of excise tax, assurance of fuel quality, the direct employment of about 50 persons, confidence in the industry, and in the ability of the regulatory and enforcement agencies to stamp out illegal activity. With these positive trends set to continue, the fuel marking program looks forward to even more success in effectively monitoring Guyana's petroleum product imports and ensuring compliance with the established regulations, thereby helping our country's growth and development. When smugglers engage in illegal activities, such as contraband goods and counterfeiting, they evade taxes and rob fellow citizens by diverting revenue intended for the development of our country to their own selfish needs. You can do your part in the battle to stamp out smuggling. If you have any information that may assist in stamping out this scourge, do not hesitate to call the relevant authorities. Report fuel smuggling activities to the Guyana Energy Agency at 226-0394 or 624-5905 on extensions 204, 210, 227 or 239. Remember, smuggling affects everyone.